Hey, how's it going? I'm Becky Saif. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you need to know in order to make your claps fuller and wider. And also I'm going to share with you one technique that I recently found which is incredible at making claps wide. I use this technique every single time now, and it's actually something that I'd never heard of until I found it a few days ago, which is why I'm making this video, because I want to show you all the ways that I already know and then also share with you this secret way, which is so cool. So the most common use of a clap in music production is to layer it on top of a snare drum, which would be in the center image, and you would put a clap on top of the snare so that you could push up the upper frequencies and make it nice and wide, giving you some really good full stereo width. So we're going to jump into the project. As always, the timestamps to every single bit of this video will be below, so you can skip to your favorite section. But the first thing I want to show you is the pattern and what you would do to your clap before you go any further. So this is the pattern that I have. And at the moment, these bottom 3 channels are turned off, but I'm going to activate this clap. Just open it. And the first thing you want to do is you want to EQ your clap. Before you go any further, grab an EQ. So I'm going to get Pro Q2, drag it and drop it onto the clap. You want to remove your low frequencies up to around 350 Hertz, so it's not clashing with the main fundamental of the snare drum. And then you also want to roll off the upper frequencies as well. You can reintroduce those really top high bright frequencies again. You could add in the brightness at a later stage, but you just want to make sure that your clap is nice and clean. And if you have a vocal, you just want to make sure that you notch out the EQ in the clap so that your vocal can sit nicely in the mix and the clap isn't clashing with your vocal. So let's take a listen to this clap. And we don't have a vocal in this drum pattern, so I'm not going to do a notch. Just make sure it's high pass filter to remove the bass frequencies. Let's listen to the drum pattern as it is at the moment. Cool. So the first thing you want to do is sample delay. This is the first technique and the one that I've known the longest, which is sample delay. In Ableton, you go into your audio effects, you grab the delay, drag it and drop it onto the track, and then you want to click on sync and you now have the time based. And what we're looking to do is to create a sample delay which delays the left and right channels, and it's almost like a Haas effect. So you may have heard of the Haas effect, which is a psychoacoustic effect that's just before the human ear perceives a echo. So if there is a slight delay between 2 sounds, but it's not as long as an echo would be, the human ear perceives that as stereo width. So that's around 40 milliseconds. You want to unlink them and just get them a little bit apart in terms of milliseconds. So something like that. I'm going to take the feedback down on this. So you can see here it's 114 milliseconds and 123 milliseconds, and you just want to play around with the sample delay. So we're delaying the stereo image left and right. So you can see here we have a 15.2 millisecond delay and a 50.2 millisecond delay. So that's 35 milliseconds? Yeah, 35 milliseconds. So once you get past that 40 millisecond threshold, it starts to, with the human ear, be perceived as an echo, whereas this is now stereo width. Let's turn the delay off and on. So that's the first technique. The second technique, I'm just going to remove the delay from this and we're going to insert a drum rack. And this is layering 2 different claps on top of each other, panning one left and one right. So I'm going to drag one clap onto C1 in the drum rack and one clap onto C sharp 1. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to pan one to the left and one to the right. Don't forget, every time you need to get your high pass filter onto the clap, and let's just draw in the claps where they need to be. And it's positioned on top of the snare drum, which is up here. So now let's play the pattern and just make sure we turn this clap off at the bottom. So because they're sonically different, because they're two different claps, you've now panned them left and right. It gives the impression that there's some stereo width, something different going on in the left channel and something different going on in the right channel. And technique number 3, if you go back into your drum rack and you duplicate one of the tracks, so hold down on Alt and drag it into another slot, we now have 2 of the same clap. If you go back into the MIDI clip, you'll see that we have another channel here. We can now add in another clap, which you can see is the same as the clap on the bottom. What we're going to do is select the MIDI notes and drag them back slightly so they just hit at a slightly different time. And this is working on that Haas effect again, where it's giving you a sense of perceived stereo width, but not so far that it sounds like a completely isolated note. So let's play it and listen to it. You can hear there that some phasing going on, so you might want to drag that just a little bit. Probably about there, actually. I was going to say closer, but actually if you just play around with the MIDI note, you can hear there that there's not that kind of like phaser, flanger sound. So let's play it now. Technique number 4 is to record your own claps, and I've actually done this with my family. I took a microphone and stuck it in the middle of the room and got them to all clap at the same time, but obviously they didn't do it at the same time, so it created some stereo width and a sense of space because everybody was clapping at slightly different times with slightly different hands and different pitches, different strengths and velocities, which was really nice. So this is my family clapping. And you can stick this into an instrument rack. So if we go into the instrument rack and drag and drop it and open it up, we can now add in our own sample. We could add in this sample here and this clap here. And you could record a series of claps. So if you just have your own hands and you just clap yourself and then clap again, it's never going to be sonically the same. So you could add in your own claps here, and you can do a combination of left and right panning. So let's drag down these MIDI notes down here. Just take it up. So that sounds really good. And the great thing about the instrument rack is if you open it up, you have this window that you can edit, and you can actually edit your start points and your end points of your claps. So let me just duplicate my family's claps. So now we have 2. We've got these synthesized claps that I've got from a sample pack, which are panned left and right. I'm going to edit the start and the end point of the first clap of my family, take it off of snap, and also I'm going to edit the start and the end point of the second clap and take it off snap. So now we have slightly different claps from the same sample. Let's listen to it. This is sounding really nice and wide. Let's play it with the beat. Let's listen to it without the claps, just so you can get an idea of what it sounds like with just the snare. So you can hear there that it sounds very central. If we add the claps back in, and of course we need to get the high pass filter on there so that there's no clashing with the claps. Sounding really nice. Cool, lovely. And the final technique, the pièce de résistance, I didn't say that properly on purpose, is this technique which I found the other day, and it is so good, and you will use this. I promise you will use this. You get an instrument rack. Let's just delete these tracks. You're going to drag and drop the same sample in there. Okay, so now we have the same sample. We're going to insert our MIDI notes, put them on one-shot mode so that you have the option to fade out. I'm actually going to delete the bottom one so that this fade is exactly the same. So now we have two identical samples, and what you're going to do is you're going to drop one of them to semitones. This is cool. Listen to this. So you can hear the stereo width there. If I bring it back up to its normal pitch, and now drop it to semitones on one of the samples, you've got some nice stereo width in there with your claps. And then you can use a combination of the panning left and right as well. Once I found that technique out the other day, I was like, yeah, I'm using this every single time. It's something so simple. Drop one of your samples by two semitones and you instantly have some stereo width on your claps. And finally, you want to process your claps. And because you've rolled off the low frequencies here, you now have the freedom to add things like reverb, because you know you're not going to get any muddiness because you don't have any low frequencies. The first thing you want to do though is add a compressor, and you want to compress your claps the same way as you would compress a normal drum, which is to avoid cutting off that initial transient. So have a fairly slow attack, a faster release, and a ratio of around 4:1. So let's play this. And just add some makeup gain. Lovely. Let's play that. And finally, you want to add some reverb. And you could really go wild with your reverb. A plate reverb will be really nice to add that kind of extra brightness that we took away from rolling off the upper frequencies. And there you go. That is 5 ways that you can enhance your claps to make them thicker, fuller, and wider in the stereo image. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you appreciated that really cool technique that I guarantee will get you results every time. Drop it to semitones and you instantly have stereo claps. I'm Becky Saif. If you did like this video and you got something out of it, please drop me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Like it and subscribe to the channel for more content. And don't forget, I do stream on Twitch. So if you want to check out more long form music production, I stream 3 times a week, twitch.tv/Becky Saif. The link to that and the Discord community is below. And I will see you for another video. Thanks. Bye.